Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Elevate Your Life podcast. Cheryl, we are doing number 114 today.
114.
And so I've been working on the notes for the fourth quarter here of 2022 and all the different podcasts Cheryl and I have lined up. And I cannot believe, Cheryl, we have not talked about one of my favorite books of all time,
Yeah.
which is the High Performance Habits book by Brendon Bouchard.
Yeah. This is a great book. And I love the little tagline that says how extraordinary people become that way. Like, how do they do it? Because we see all these people and we're like, oh my gosh, how did they get from where they started? And I think that's why we like stories so much too, right? Because we hear the story of where they came from. You know, they weren't always an extraordinary person. They had to go through a process to get there. And I think and I love them. And I love the stories. I love people.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I don't know the exact number, so don't hold me to this, but I think it was like 32,000 people he interviewed that were made, significant, you would consider them ultra successful people, multimillionaires, whatever, and just the best of the best in their industry. So it was a crazy high number, whatever it was. And he wanted to find out the common denominators, like why is, all these people successful no matter what field they're in? What are the common denominators? And
Awesome.
as we move into number one, Cheryl, which is seek clarity. So the whole thing, that Brendon has done here is he was curious. He's like, well, how do all these super successful people become that way?
Yeah.
And that's what we asked. We asked, well, how can we move women from fine to fabulous?
Yes.
How can we help people elevate their life? I mean, that's a huge question. Those are huge questions. And that really what motivates us to do these podcasts and to, help so many people out there, because we're working from such a high level and we want to answer these big questions. So number one, Cheryl, is seek clarity. Let's talk about that. What is really this concept of seek clarity? Why is it the number one thing that highly successful people do?
Well, because, it all starts with beginning, like where we're at, but you have to have the end in mind. Like you have to be super clear. So it's seek clarity on who you want to be and what you want to achieve. And take it from me, if you don't know those things, you are never going to get to where you want to go because you don't know where you want to go, right? And so if you don't know the end or where you want to get to, and look, let's be real, that can change. It can change from this to that. Before I had kids, I had a different ending in mind of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to get to. And now it's a little bit different. So, but knowing and always having the end that you want to get to, I think is absolutely the number one thing that we have to do.
It is. But I love what you said first, Cheryl. So what I was going through was, I want to be super healthy and fit. I want to be a millionaire, like all these things I want to achieve. But the big switch, I think, especially in the past 2-3 years, has been this conversation we've been having, an ongoing conversation about identity, and how I've switched, not saying I want to be a millionaire, but I'm the type of person who earns millions of dollars per year.
Yeah.
So, and then you go into the question of, well, what would a multimillionaire do right now? Would he go take the day off? Would he do that? Or would he, make 100 phone calls a day? I mean, the answer becomes really simple once you take on that identity of what you want. It's just who I am. And I think that's been super big for me.
Yeah, and it's just a tiny mind shift. I think it's just like looking at it a little bit differently, and then really living into and being that person that you want to become, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we talk about, living on purpose and living that purpose-driven life. And I just feel, because I got to meet Brendon Bouchard, and you could just feel from him that he has a purpose in life. His purpose is to figure out what extraordinary people do. Just like, your big purpose. Like, I really want to help women go from fine to fabulous. Like, that's what I want to do with my life. And because you constantly ask that big challenging question, it gives you purpose. And I think, Cheryl, right now in life, a lot of people are missing purpose. They don't have that big question, that big thing they're going after to solve, if you will, and that big question they're going out to answer. And I really, really encourage everyone that's listening to this right now to think about what am I curious about? What can I go out there and ask a big question about? And not just about yourself, because when we study how to elevate people's lives, guess what we have to do? We have to elevate our own lives or try that thing on us to see, well, yeah, we did this. Did it make us get better? And if it didn't, then we don't talk about it. But if it did, we talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. What else is another thing about seek clarity, Cheryl?
Well, you have to constantly be asking the big questions and the challenging questions. So I think sometimes, especially for me, I don't want to do that. I think it's harder. I think it's hard to do that, right?
It is. It really is, especially when we have to look in the mirror and ask those questions about ourselves.
Yeah.
But this is it. We want to see clarity. That is the number one thing. I always want to get clear on things. That's why we do the weekly review every single week. Is I ask myself, what the heck is going on? At all these things happen all week long. What happened? In doing that weekly review gives me amazing clarity on what happened, what I need to do different, and how I can make this next upcoming week even better. So I love that one, Cheryl. And the next one, maybe the one you excel at the most, which is generate energy. So, whatever you want to do in life, it takes energy to do it.
Absolutely. And I think the more energy you have, the more people are attracted to you on whatever level, right? And so I think, just exciting. I mean, energy really is everything. And Paul, it's so interesting because people are like, well, gosh, are you always excited? Do you always have high energy? Do you always, and you know what? It really becomes, you learn how to manage your mental stamina, your physical energy and positive emotions to always stay with that high energy.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And I mean, I'm excited about life. I'm excited to help people. I'm excited to help women move from fine to fabulous.
Yeah, and it's important to note that when we're talking about managing your mental stamina, that it's a fixed amount. We don't have like unlimited amounts of mental stamina and physical energy. So Brendan talks a lot about scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Instagram. We think that, we're going to take a little break and go look and see what's going on online. But the truth of it is, as soon as you go do that, you're expending massive amounts of mental stamina because your mind has to think about, okay, is this important? Is that important? Should I reply to that? Should I like that? Should I dislike that? Should I do this? And there's so much information going on. It's actually taxing you more than the thing you just took a break from. So
Yeah.
it's super important to really, I love managing my stamina where I'm doing 25-minute sprints. I'm taking 5 minutes off, get a cup of coffee, jump on a trampoline, doing something different and then coming back so that I'm not burnt out by 3 p.m. and can't go any further.
Yeah.
But of course, there's exercise, and we exercise every single day. That's going to generate energy. Taking our supplements, obviously, is key to that. Drinking the water. The number one reason why people are tired is because they're lacking water. So all these things can together help generate energy. And again, energy is everything. It is the thing that creates change. So we have to have energy. So we want to generate more of it. What's number 3, Cheryl?
You know what? It's all about raising necessity, which I'm like, wait, what? But I think that it's all about, as a high performer or as we become high performers, we feel that we absolutely must perform well, right? And so, and I love that, Paul, because I think it's all about taking pride in what you do and how you do it, and being able to go out there and make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, it's I love this sentence that Brendan says in this: to emulate these high performers, you must continuously stroke the why fire. whatever that why comes from, whenever that why comes from internal standards or external demand. So, when we, for instance, we always talk about weight loss and women that are about to become or soon to become brides, about to get married. The necessity to lose weight all of a sudden goes from a level 2 to a level 20. I mean, it's a must now, and we have to learn in our lives to sometimes we're doing things like maybe just making these kind of podcasts or doing things with our businesses, and we're not putting the necessity behind it that it needs to be completed or to be completed at a high level at least. And that's why a lot of things I believe in life don't get done, is because we're not having that standard of it's got to get done now. This is super, super important.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. In a minute. I think sometimes
Yeah, too many people say tomorrow.
Yeah. Or
later.
Hey, listen, how about in just a few minutes, I'm going to get that done.
Yeah.
I'm going to really focus on that in just a few minutes. And then, an hour goes by. Well, in just a few minutes. I don't like to say tomorrow because that has a bad connotation, Paul. I like to say
there is no tomorrow. Yeah.
That's what I say. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay. Number 4, increase productivity. Yeah. And let me tell you, this was so hard for me because, especially, it was always my dream and goal to be able to stay home with my kids, right, and raise them, but still make money and do things while they were at school or whatever. But let me tell you, if you own a business that you can do from home, which is what a blessing that is, Paul, I will say this right away: it's a little hard to stay focused sometimes because you got 50,000 other things going on at the same time. So that focus and figuring out how you want to focus during the day and what you need to focus on is so important.
Yeah, Brennan says in this chapter that, or this book, that productivity is producing something. So this goes back to the RPM, the result. What is the result that you want? People say, "Oh yeah, I'm super productive. I get tons done every single day." Oh really? Well, what are you actually accomplishing? Oh well, nothing. They're just doing busy stuff, and so you gotta again have that end in mind. Get clear on that. And I always love, Cheryl, to decide on my big 3 for today. What are the big 3 things I'm going to do that's going to move the ball forward in my business?
Yeah.
And I got 3 a day. I got 21 a week. I got 1,000 a year. That's why my business is moving forward, is because I'm increasing productivity by really deciding what the big 3 is. And really, Cheryl, bigger than that is avoiding distractions. I mean,
wow,
distractions kill people's productivity. The cell phones, the everything else. So I think the greatest invention ever, Cheryl, is noise canceling headphones. So I have these big Bose headphones. Actually, you bought them for me for Christmas one year, and I love them, because they just basically say, "Don't bother me," And I got some great music. Actually, I subscribed to this service called Focus at Will. And there's actually a link to it here in the notes, and you can get the notes again at elevateyourlife.com. And when I'm playing this music, it actually puts me in the brain wave of high focus. So it's accomplishing or killing 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess.
I need that. I don't know what that is. I really need that whole, what is that? You can you can listen to something that will help you focus.
It literally changes the brain waves in your brain and puts
How come you haven't told me about this, Paul?
Listen, I gave you all my secrets.
Oh my gosh, come on. I need a whole pod. When you're a mom, you need a whole pod to get into, not just headphones.
Yeah, really.
To be able to focus or to get the noise. Oh my gosh.
All right, what's number 5, Cheryl?
Okay, so number 5 is develop influence. This is important.
Yeah, we treat this as so important that we actually do a podcast every single Thursday on leadership. And again, leadership is nothing more than influence. That's it. So you want to develop that influence. And influence is just getting other people to do what you want them to do. So we want you to elevate your life. We want you to move from fine to fabulous. I mean, we're not being secretive of our goals here, or what our motives are here. We truly want to help people and help them elevate. So it's getting people to follow you, Cheryl. That's really what this is about.
Sure. Absolutely. And then number 6, I love this one. I love this word. It's demonstrate courage. Now, I love courage and I love the whole idea of being courageous. Now, the opposite, and we've talked a lot about the 6 needs, and the opposite of certainty, which is what most people really want, is some sort of certainty. I know I have friends that hate change. They don't want to have anything to do with it. But where you're at, if you're trying to get somewhere great or become this amazing person, there's going to have to be a bit of change. Okay. So it's really having that courage to make those changes that are necessary. And I love that whole idea of, hey, listen, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to always get the same thing. You're not going to be able to change or move forward. So you have to have the courage to change.
Absolutely, and you're just not going to get anywhere in life without it. So, but it's interesting that the opposite of certainty, living in your comfort zone, is change. I mean, it is getting out of your box and doing something you've never done before. And I know there's people out there that have criticized us because they're like, oh, those two change too much. They are always. But we constantly tweak things. We find out better ways to do things. I'm someone who doesn't like sitting in a puddle for weeks or months. If there's something we can do to get out of that, some kind of change we can make, let's keep moving forward. Let's keep elevating. And that's elevate your life. Improving your life 1% every day means making a change every day. Making an improvement is changing something. So it just became a way of life for us, Cheryl. That I think our strength, the thing that we both score a 10 on, is the courage part, is because we're not worried at all about keeping things certain. We want change. We want improvement. We want to move from fine to fabulous. We don't want to stay at fine. We've established that as being the worst 4-letter word out there. Yeah. We want to be fabulous, Yeah. So, but change requires courage. So there's the high performance habits. There's 6 of them. 3 are considered personal and 3 are considered social. So the 3 that are considered personal were the first 3: seek clarity, generate energy, and raise necessity. And then the social ones, the 3 social ones, was increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage. So Cheryl, to elevate your life, you have to follow these 6 performance habits.
Absolutely. And if you do that, you can move from fine to fabulous.
All right, awesome. Hope you got some value out of this podcast. We will be back on Thursday to teach you how to develop influence on our leadership podcast. So we'll see you then.